One of the things I want to share real quick is what a concentrated loading cycle for exercises that follow an ascending strength curve could look like. So to answer a couple of questions you might have before I even get started, what's a concentrated loading cycle? It's one in which you increase the frequency, the intensity, and the volume with which you train an exercise or body part to accelerate progress. What happens is when you start working out, you impose a demand on your body, you disturb its current state, and it's going to respond in a positive way, but over time it's going to get desensitized to what you do. So what you're going to need to do is increase the demand further, but it's not the load that breaks you down, it's the way that you carry it that does. So there's a right and a wrong way to do this. So this is an example of a strategy of how to do that effectively. Now, what's an ascending strength curve or an exercise that follows one? A squat or a bench press are perfect examples. An ascending strength curve is one in which your capacity to produce force increases as the range of motion progresses. So with those exercises, squats and bench presses and deadlifts too, you're weakest at the bottom generally, and you're able to lift more weight at the top. So therefore, through like 2/3 of the range of motion, the muscles are not under optimal or maximal tension, and therefore, if you do not subject them to optimal and maximal tension throughout their entirety, you're not going to maximize your return on investment of time and effort. So here's a strategy to get better, to get stronger with a squat or a bench press or a deadlift. It's a very simple strategy, and there's a couple of points of emphasis at the top here. We're stronger at the top, and we're stronger eccentrically. So we can use this to our advantage to maximize our return on investment of time and effort. How can we take advantage of being stronger at the top? By using variable resistance or performing partials. Now, variable resistance is when you attach bands or chains to a barbell, because as that bar travels away from the earth, the weight or the resistance as a whole is going to increase. So as our capacity to produce force increases, the weight increases. It creates a more complete movement. If you don't have bands or chains, you could just perform partials through the top range, in which you use more weight than you normally would be able to do to exceed your current lifting capacity through a full range. So it's a 3-stage approach. The first step, work up to a daily limit using variable resistance. Once again, if you don't have variable resistance, you work up to your daily max, either a single, a double, or a triple, whatever you want. Doesn't really matter that much. When you get to the top weight of the day, keep going, only performing the top half of the range of motion. Usually you'll be able to use like 50, in some cases maybe 100 pounds more through that range than you would through a full range, which further illustrates that the muscles are not under optimal or maximal tension when using a weight that you can lift through a full range of motion. So you work up to your daily max. After that, you got a couple of options. You can perform 3 eccentrics with the top weight achieved. So because we're stronger eccentrically, we can lower more weight than we can lift. So what you do is, let's say with variable resistance, you're lifting 350 pounds on a bar and you got 50 pounds of chains on there. That's 400 pounds at the top of the lift, but 350 or 360 at the bottom, because we can't overcome 400 at the bottom, but we can lower into that range with 400 by performing an eccentric rep only. So what you do, you get in, you lower 400 pounds in a power rack. You're going to rest the bar on the pins at the bottom, get out, take the weight off, put it back up, put the weight back on, and then lower it again. Repeat that process 3 times should be suffice. You can maybe do 4 if you want, maybe 2 would be enough for you. So you're going to scale it up or down based on your recovery demands. Now, you can do that, or if that's too demanding or you don't have a power rack, you just perform 10 reps with variable resistance using 85 to 90% of the top weight achieved. So if you achieved 400, you would use 360 or less and get 10 reps however you can. Use Perlipin's chart, generally 3 sets of 3. I mean, obviously that's 9, but roughly 10 is ideal. And then from there, you're going to perform roughly 10 paused reps with variable resistance as well, using 60 to 65% of the weight that was achieved in the first segment. So the first segment really sets the tone for the rest of the workout. What we want to do here is we want to overload the muscles throughout their entirety. Then we want to use eccentrics to subject the muscles to higher levels of tension in their weakest range than would otherwise be possible, or just perform a little bit of a higher volume of work, performing full range reps with variable resistance using 85 to 90%, and then finishing with paused reps at the bottom to increase the time under optimal and maximal tension on the muscles in their weakest range. So we're using the same lift, but it's the way that we're performing it, the conditions in which we're performing it under, that are going to change to train the lift through its full range of motion. You're going to do this 2 days in a row. 2 days later, test your max without variable resistance to see how you've progressed. And then 2 days later, repeat the cycle. And you can repeat the cycle as often as you want, depending on your return on investment. If you're getting a good return on your investment, keep doing it. If you're not getting a good return, then maybe switch to something else because your body's getting desensitized to this. Now, for those who say, wow, that's not really much work in a workout, that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to go in, I'm going to squat, work up to a limit, do a couple of eccentric reps, and then a couple of pause reps, that's it. Here's the thing. There's a right and a wrong way to carry the load so that it doesn't break you down. And Sun Tzu said, every battle is won or lost before it is ever fought. That's the mindset you need to have when performing this type of cycle, using this type of strategy. When you're done the work, all your focus, all your effort, all your concentration should be going into doing it again the next day. If you do too much today, it'll negatively impact what you can do tomorrow. And if you want to get stronger, your ability to frequently practice high quality work is going to have the greatest impact on how strong you can get. If you can't do the work again tomorrow because you're too beat down, it's counterproductive. You shot yourself in the foot. So that's the mindset you need to have. Start preparing for tomorrow's battle, tomorrow's workout today, as soon as you can, because every battle, every workout is won or lost before you ever even get into the gym. Get in, get the work done, do it to the best of your ability, get out and start preparing for the next one. So that's an example of a concentrated loading cycle for exercises that follow an ascending strength curve. It's just one strategy. There are many strategies. This is not the best ever. It's not the worst ever. It'll probably work for a lot of people. Therefore, if you like this information, feel free to share it. It's fucking free. Pass it on. Do a good thing. Share this with people who you think would benefit. You like the information yourself? Click the fucking button at the bottom. Subscribe to the channel. I'm going to keep bringing you the best.